you ready to go into the wild with the E-A-G? See them mangrove there, protect them. When you walk with your things, don't left them. Look out for the birds and the snakes, don't scare them. We're going on a wildlife journey to save them. Who you rolling with? E-A-G. No one does it like E-A-G. Who cares for the coral reefs and the beach and the seas and even the trees? Who you rolling with? E-A-G. No one does it like E-A-G. Who cares the most for the turtles and fishes and trees and trees? Who you rolling with? E-A-G. No one does it like
Antigua and Barbuda, not forgetting Redonda, make up one of the most beautiful island states in the Caribbean, and will brook no argument about that. A huge variety of ecosystems make up this state. It's a very small island developing state, but a very large ocean state of around 45,000 square miles. And these very ecosystems protect the islands, but they also make them extra vulnerable to outside forces. The Environmental Awareness Group is the island's oldest environmental NGO, and they work to inform and support sustainability of the environment. So let's find out a little bit more from the Chief Executive, Arika Hill.
Hello.
I'm Zoe
Hello, Zoe. Now, the Environmental Awareness Group, one of the most important groups in Antigua, because that is one of the things that makes us so beautiful. Mm-hmm. What is the role of the Environmental Awareness Group?
So the Environmental Awareness Group, or EAG as we normally call ourselves, we've been around for just over 30 years, and we're a non-governmental organization that's with a strong focus on conservation. So we say that we do all of our work for the benefit of people and wildlife. And so that really means that we're trying to safeguard spaces that people can enjoy and that wildlife can enjoy. So if wildlife normally occurs there, they should still be able to normally occur there. So I think that's probably a very important thing, because then what you always find is that once there's a space where wildlife exists and persists and is in abundance, those tend to be the most beautiful places that we as people also benefit from.
And one of the things people don't realize about Antigua and Barbuda is it's not just rainforest, it's not just an island. There's wetlands, there's mangroves, there's incredible wildlife. And we have the Antigua racer snake, for example, and I know one that's close to your heart, Redonda.
Yes.
And they're all different parts of the environment. But because we are a small island developing state, we are very vulnerable. So why is our environment so vulnerable to outside impact?
That's an interesting question. I think we're vulnerable for a number of reasons. For one thing, there's always the developmental pressures that are very real for a developing country. We're not rich by any means at all. So we're constantly trying to find ways to diversify our economy, to make sure that our people are well and thriving. And for us to do that, it often means that we have to sell large areas of land for development. And sometimes that development doesn't happen. And so we've already sold it off. They've already started their development. And there's nothing that we can do to replace what they've already taken. So that's one part. And it is a balancing act, and it's challenging. The other side of things is we all know the delightful, sweet phenomena of climate change. It's so lovely. Makes us all giggle, right? So we're a small island developing state. We're on the very front lines of climate change and the vulnerabilities associated with that. And every island has specific vulnerabilities that they can expect. Antigua's vulnerability is high droughts and flash flooding, along with extreme storms and that kind of thing. And it's very interesting to have extreme drought situations. So you're expecting like 7 years with no significant rain.
Which has been at the moment, hasn't it? Up till now, it's been a fairly big, long spell.
And this is like, I think in my lifetime, I'm just under 40, and I've experienced, this is like my third long, like more than 5 year spell of a drought, right? So this is life. I think our present drought period right now is nearly 8 years. And so you have this long drought period, and then you suddenly get a really intense storm. And that rain it's not, the soil is not allowed to kind of soak it up and enjoy it. It just immediately turns into a flooding situation. So it's very interesting to have those two things go together, but that's what we experience as a small island developing state and as a very vulnerable country. And so when you spoke about even the fact that we have multiple types of ecosystems, it then kind of brings to fore the importance of our wetland systems. And wetland systems are including our ponds, our mangrove ecosystems, and all the things in between that watershed area. Because if you don't have strong wetland ecosystems, it means that flash flooding is going to be even worse than it would normally be because those ecosystem services are lost.
Now, you mentioned earlier on about the necessity for development, finding that very difficult balance.
Yeah.
And our first line of defense are the 4 different types of mangroves, aren't they, that layer our coastline. And there has been some recent contentious developments where the mangroves have been cut away. Now, is this a big worry for you and your team, these cutting of the mangroves? Do they grow back again?
Do they grow back again? I'm going to answer that question first.
Okay.
So not necessarily. If they are cut down, they can grow back because, it's thankfully not like a finger. It's a tree, so it can return. It's in one particular instance, what happened was not just the removal of the tree itself, but the backfilling, or you kind of like put soil in the space, and that kind of dries up the area and reduces the functionality of the ecosystem. So that's why if you'd notice a lot of environmentalists don't speak about mangroves, they speak about a mangrove ecosystem, because it's really not just a tree. It's the services that the root systems and all 4 of those root systems along a pathway that makes it important. So if you've disturbed the root system at any one of those areas, what you've done is you have removed the functionality of that entire ecosystem. And it is then impossible it's impossible for that to be regenerated. And so instead it has to be engineered through our hard infrastructure. So whether it's building walls and that kind of thing, then you have to, as man-made, we have to then create that thing that nature was giving to us for free.
And then we lose some of the wildlife that lives within that ecostructure.
Of course. So, and especially because within a mangrove ecosystem, it is buoyed up by 2 other ecosystems. So it's you have your mangroves, your seagrass beds, and then your coral reef ecosystems. Right, they all follow in a beautiful line. And so once the mangrove ecosystem is damaged, what happens is that it then puts too much pressure on your seagrasses. So all that sediment that, like when the land is cleansing itself, there's all that dirt and all that extra nutrients, it kind of sticks up in those mangrove ecosystem. Those beautiful roots hold on to it. What that doesn't catch, the seagrasses catch. And then once the seagrasses catch all of that, they also reduce wave energy, and they make it really nice for when you get out to the coral reefs. So the coral reefs can flourish because they need clean, clear water to flourish. So if you have destroyed the beginning, which is the mangrove ecosystem, the poor seagrasses are struggling in between. They're doing their best, but they can't do everything. And then it means that it then completely damages our coral reef ecosystems, which then means fisheries, tourism, storm protection, all of that is not necessarily destroyed, but definitely hampered.
And how does the EAG play a role in trying to prevent this happening or fixing what is happening?
So we do this through multiple areas. We of this one side of it, which is advocacy, just really just speaking about what are the challenges and providing people with we hope, concrete evidence to demonstrate that there is benefit in maintaining and managing our wetland ecosystems. That's one side. Another part of it is we do a lot of education. We're consistently finding interesting ways to educate people, whether it is through school tours. We actually take children out to our offshore islands. We take them through mangroves. We take them to see seagrass beds. We take them all over the place. We're now even adding a new component in this year where we're taking adults snorkeling because we want them to see it for themselves, because we strongly believe
It's a brilliant idea.
that if you can touch it, don't go touching any coral, but
Don't try this at home.
Don't do it. Don't go touching, but go look, hands off. But if you get to see it, if you get to experience it, it really makes a very big difference in your appreciation for the thing. It changes your worldview completely. So that's one other side. And then, of course, the other side of the work that we do is in conservation. Now, we don't necessarily work within that broader marine space as yet. We have a small team, and that's hopefully a part of the work that we're going to be able to do. But what we do instead is that we say, okay, well, we see other NGOs, other organizations that are doing marine conservation. So we actually we don't volunteer our time. Volunteering our time, no, it's in our work plan that we must give support to other organizations that are doing marine conservation. So we go out with them and we help them as for how many hours that we are supposed to do per year. And that is for us very important. And then finally, beyond the education that we do at a large scale, I mean, we have like videos online that go with teachers' resource books and student activity booklets and that kind of thing. So it's structured education, but we also empower communities. So we've been working with communities that are living on shorelines and are directly impacted by development, directly impacted by these vulnerabilities that we mentioned before. Yeah. And we've not gone in and said, okay, I'm going to fix your problem for you, because we don't believe that. We can't fix your problem. You can fix your problem. Everybody, you fix your problems every day, right? You realize that your hair needs combing, you comb it, right? So you have fixed your own problems consistently. What you need, though, is the tools to fix your problems. So we've gone into communities, we've trained them in first identifying the problem, like what is the key thing that is the problem that you want to identify as an environmental issue. Are there any agencies then within the government system that have things that you can piggyback on that can help you? So maybe you don't need to make a big fuss. Maybe there's a person that you can literally just call and they have the access to the resources that you need to help you manage your problem. But if not, then is there grant funding available for you to develop a large project and get international funding to sort out your problem?
And is there?
Yes. All of those things exist. And so we have actually had like one community group that actually just recently received grant funding from the JEF Small Grants Program. What they did is, yes, they identified the agency that can help them. They're like, okay, I'm going to partner with you, but you don't have enough money to help me to do all the things that I need. I'm going to top that up with grant funding. I'm also going to work along with people in the diaspora, and all of those people contend together and they're going to fix their own problem.
So how much of a role, an active role, does the Department of the Environment play in some of these issues?
Oh man, let me tell you, I know that it's very possible and it's very easy to have the narrative of, like Department of Environment or government agencies do not they don't always help. I can assure you that when we call, they do answer.
Brilliant.
And sometimes you might get an answer that you don't want. It might be the answer of, no, I cannot help you, but you've answered. They may then say, no, I can't help you, but this is who can. Or, I can help you, but you need to take these 10 steps. I think the challenge sometimes is we don't want to take the 10 steps. We want you to fix it immediately. And that's not always possible. For me, like, Zoe, I I don't believe that I need to ever depend on anybody else to fix my problem. If you tell me the ways that I can figure it out, I'm going to follow those. I'm going to follow your train. And then because I've followed the system that you have created, when there's a problem with that system, I can fuss with you.
Now, the education program that you have, you
Yes.
take the children out, you take the adults out. Do our children in Antigua, do they understand the environment, the vulnerability of it, the importance of it?
I think they have a vague understanding.
So we still have a way to go.
We do. I think the reason why we have a way to go, though, is, and this has always been my little pet peeve, we've always focused on primary school students. When you're little, everything is fun and exciting, right? But you don't actually have real passion generally at that age. You have many interests. Life is open. It's fun. You could be anything. I think when you figure out who you are, which is around 13, 14.
I'm still working on it.
Same. but you still have, there's a core you that you kind of figure out just around that age, where you kind of realize, oh, but I really do love singing. This is something I really, really love. Like, I don't just like it, I love it, right? And then if somebody provides you with the support, you then become a singer. You may not sing, that may not be the only thing you do, but your passion is developed from that time, and it carries you all the way into adulthood. And I know that because that's what has happened with me.
I know you can sing.
I can hold a tune well. So what we're now looking at is we've now developed our new program called our Wildlife Warriors program. And it's entirely focused on that age group, which we consider almost to be the forgotten age group. Those children in first and second form, you've now starting to kind of figure out your little self. Because it's really new, our intention is to take 10 kids. Let's get you out, see what our work is. Really understand it, become, snake experts and turtle experts and rat experts as well, because you need to know the rats so you can help everything else. So sorry. But, really train them in the things that we do every day to see if that sparks your passion. Because then once that sparks, then maybe you won't stay in the environmental field, but you will always have an appreciation for the environment that will shape how you behave as an adult. So we'll see how that goes. If you do have a passion for the environment, there are so many ways that you can do the other parts of you while mashing that or melting that with the environment.
I think that's really good. I mean, this is something that people don't realize. It's the same with the sailing world, same with other worlds. People have a very tunnel vision, narrow vision of what it is.
I mean, the thing is, I think of it because everybody's not going to want to be outside.
Yeah.
It's not a thing for everybody. And even if, so like I'm comfortable outside, but it's not my preference. I like thinking through things. I love the policies. I love engaging with people. I am not the most observant outdoors. So if you need somebody to collect data on the difference between one leaf and another, I am just like,
that's a leaf.
That's also a leaf. Zoe, I cannot. So like even this week we had a whole training on land bird monitoring, and our exam was them playing like this bird song.
Oh crumbs, that's hard. That is so difficult.
All of them sounded like a banana quit to me, and I was wrong every time.
Not even one banana quit among them?
No, I was always wrong. I could identify it from how it looks. Thank God, because birds look different. The song? The bird song? The flutter of their wings? Come on. Be serious. So we want to be able to let children know that if you're not that, you still have opportunities to work in this field and do well, and it be your career.
Now, this has to be number one of a series of programs that you and I are going to do, Erika, because we could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and giggle an awful lot. So thank you very much for talking to me. This is just an introduction of the EAG and what it does and the importance of it for Antigua and Barbuda. Erika Hill, the powerhouse that is Erika Hill, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, are you ready to go into the wild with the EAG? EAG. See them mangrove there, protect them when you walk with your thing.